guys make of the pressure on Daniel Cormier going into this fight with Stipe? And, let's back up just a second. You're going to hear the word pressure so many times in sport, but you're never going to hear anybody explain to you why it matters within sport. Pressure is also motivation. So pressure can be a good thing when you're in training camp. Pressure on the night of competition many times gets brought into the narrative without the explanation of why it matters to know, or at least be able to hypothesize who is feeling it the most. Look, pressure is going to do one thing. Pressure is going to create a stress, and that stress is going to create a fatigue. Simple as that. You will know most athletes, and you are one, from your childhood days of running around and playing tag in the neighborhood to, middle school, high school, whatever sport you were doing, but you could practice that sport for a couple of hours a day. You did. But when it actually became game time, you had to shorten that time. And then you needed a halftime break. And then you could tell the coach, I'm tired, and send a new player. I mean, that's just a reality of the situation. I was a wrestler growing up, but to put that in perspective, we would wrestle hard every single day for 2 hours, and it would be tiring. You'd be all sweating, your heart rate's up. When the final bell goes off, you're exhausted and ready to go home. Sure, but it was nowhere near as tired as an actual match that was only 6 minutes. So how do you do something for 2 hours, get through it? Yeah, it was tough, but you get through it. And you can barely do it for 6 minutes. How? Well, I will tell you, the difference in competition is because there's a referee and a whistle and you got to wear silly singlets with silly headgear. There's a stress involved. That stress of an actual match, of it all being on the line, creates a fatigue at a much faster rate. That is very relevant. So when you talk about who's got the pressure or how is Daniel going to deal with this pressure, I think it's a real conversation. I don't worry about things for Daniel Cormier on any level. I just don't. I've just known him too long and just followed his career for too damn long. I mean, I remember when he went from heavyweight to light heavyweight back to heavyweight. I remember all the storylines. I remember how fascinating this was to the world. I remember how the bettors went and handicapped that. But I had watched him do it. I watched him go from 184 pounds up to 211 pounds, up to 265, back down to 205. I just watched him do these things. I'm not ready to buy in that Cormier is going to fall for pressure. This is a guy who wrestled Chael Sonnen more times than I could count. Wrestled Chael Sonnen 1 time, 2 times within 2 weeks. Wrestled him in the Big 8 finals, walked out on the light blue mat of the NCAAs and wrestled him again 2 weeks later. Daniel Cormier has also had a number of last moments. He had his last high school match. He had his last college match. He had his last international match. The only thing different with Stipe is this is a predetermined last match. When Daniel got to the NCAA tournament, by example, he didn't know if he's going to win or lose. If he wins, he's going to have less matches. If he loses and has to go to the consolation bracket, he could have even more matches. And once you sign for your second one, you're all done. Turn your shoes in, drop your singlet off at the office. Good knowing you. Same thing goes with the Olympic Games of international and freestyle. You don't know when your last match is going to be. He might have known when his last tournament was. You know when that last match is going to be, and that is a little bit different with Stipe. Now, I'm splitting hairs here, but I'm choosing to split hairs so that we have something to have a conversation about, because that is the one and only nuance that Daniel's going into. I will offer for you guys a reminder that he did not like how his college career ended. And you guys might go, how could that be? He was in the national finals, which means you can't possibly get less than second. I got it. For the normal man, you would be right. This is a special man, not a normal man. He did not like how his Olympic bid ended. But Chael, how could that be? He wrestled for the bronze medal. Yeah, I get it. For a normal man, it is an accomplishment, puts different goals on himself. So I bring that to your attention, though, because those really did hurt him bad. Those hurt him tremendously. I don't mean they hurt his stock. I mean, inside, he felt a deep pain. I would also even argue for you, had he beaten Chael Sonnen in that college match, he may not have even tried to make an Olympic team. I would argue for you, had he won that Olympic gold medal, he may not have even gone into mixed martial arts. This is an athlete who, in many ways, like all athletes, has been in search of closure. He would just like the story to end when that final page is turned the way that he wanted to see it end since he was a little boy and dreamed about it. So when I bring that to your attention, does he have a unique pressure? Yes. He does. But I will also remind you the great conquerors burned their ships. They had no way to get back. They had to succeed or face a pain that they didn't want to feel. And in many ways, Daniel Cormier, I would surmise from an outsider looking in, but I've got 20 years of data to look at. I would surmise for you that yes, you are correct in determining that pressure is there and real. I will add on the back of that that is what is making him tick. That is what he is using for motivation. And like any diamond, all a piece of coal is, all a diamond is a piece of coal that withstood the pressures of time.